So from a broader perspective, how significant is the Taiwan issue in the current two bilateral relationship, and what impact might that have moving forward?
I think it's I would place it as the single biggest issue on which the two countries might actually come to start to fight. I think it has come down, unfortunately, to that stage where it cannot be ruled out that the two countries might actually enter into a armed confrontation with regard to Taiwan. And that's why there is no other issue in the Indo-Pacific on which the two sides are in a position to come into an armed confrontation not by accident, but by choosing to do so. And therefore, I think Taiwan Straits policy needs to be conducted with that seriousness, considering that this is one area on which China will not bend and cannot bend and should not bend, and that the U.S. must rearrange its one China policy in a way that is consistent to the words that it was mentioned by Mr. Kissinger 50 years ago, that the U.S. does not challenge the Chinese interpretation. The U.S. policy was and has been that we don't necessarily accept the Chinese interpretation that Taiwan is a part of China, but that we would not challenge that interpretation. And that's what Mr. Kissinger said. Unfortunately, where it stands today is the US relentlessly challenging the Chinese proposition, even while it talks about a one China policy. And therefore, I would hope the US would step back and stop challenging that proposition, and that can lend stability to the broader relationship, because I think Taiwan Straits policy, the Taiwan issue is at the heart of the US-China relationship going forward. If that fails to be managed correctly, not only will there be war, but even the economic relationship between the two countries can collapse in a very significant way. And nobody in Asia wants that to happen, because Asia is still a place where most countries see a decade, 2 decades, even 3, 4, 5 decades of growth and prosperity going forward. And that they do not want the two countries to be fighting over any issue, much less Taiwan, and creating a major conflagration which will hurt the region and hurt both countries, frankly.